Hi traders, welcome back to my channel. This is Sophie and this is your weekly market recap for September 22nd through the 26th, 2025. In this video, we're going to cover what moved the market this week, what to watch out for next week, and some easy trading setups. But before we get into that, disclaimer, this video is just for informational purposes only, okay? So be sure to do your own research before placing any trades. So this week, the market primarily chopped sideways, and SPY closed at around 661.82 on Friday. Some of the key drivers this week that led the market was inflation and Fed talk. It kept traders very cautious. We had some AI headlines that moved tech stocks like Nvidia, and rotation into financial and energy sectors gave some strength. So sector-wise, tech was super choppy this week, and energy and financials was much stronger. Some of the notable movers this week was Nvidia. It was up off of new AI deals. Oracle also moved on AI news, but it was bearish, baby. Oracle went down, okay? And then CoreWeave also had heavy call volume, so it moved quite a bit. And I also wanted to note that platinum and silver is also picking up pretty heavy. So platinum and silver also move quite a bit. As far as options, as far as options, we saw heavy call volume in Nvidia and Microsoft. We saw heavy put volume in Oracle, and volatility stayed high all week. So this week, some strategies that worked for us were calls on platinum, and that ticker symbol is PPLT. We had some puts on Oracle, and we also had calls on Intel. And then we had iron condors on the major indexes. Now, allow me one moment to get my screen pulled up or to share my screen, and I'm going to go through our watch list for the week and give you guys key resistance, support and resistance levels, or just key price points that you want to keep your eyes on. That way, if the stocks move above or below these price points, you'll know whether or not you should be placing your calls or your puts. Okay, so first up we have SPY. And so like I said, SPY primarily moves sideways in this week. But if you notice that channel I had up, it kind of hit the bottom of that channel and rebounded. But for the most part, it just traded sideways for the week. Um, so right now, SPY currently has a resistance around 670 with support around this like 555. I meant 655. But it's also, yeah, so 655-ish for support, and then around 670, almost 670 for resistance, and that's a 52-week high. So next we're going to look at Apple. Now we talked about Apple last week, and Apple has a resistance right here just below the 260 mark. And I have multiple screens, y'all, so I'm looking at multiple screens, so excuse me. Yeah, but Apple has a resistance around that 260 mark, which is the 52-week high, and it has a pretty strong support around 238, but I will also give it like, 251. So I would say 251 to 260 would be a good support and resistance. And then that bottom support is around 238 for Apple. So we want to watch out for those key points. We want to make sure Apple is going to break above this 257 if we're going to be placing calls. And then if it breaks below this 251, we want to be placing puts, okay? So next we're going to talk about Microsoft. Now, Microsoft has resistance around this 518, and it still has this support around 505. So we want to watch for Microsoft. Microsoft need to break out of these price points. Microsoft primarily traded sideways this week. So we're seeing a lot of sideways action. So I would say be mindful of where your support and resistance lines are in super choppy markets like this. It's very important to know where your support and resistance lines are. So that's why I'm giving you those price points. So if you see it's near resistance, or let's just say you have a call, you may want to exit that call before it gets to resistance, and to see if it's going to rebound or break through resistance. If it break through resistance, then 9 times out of 10, it's going to continue to run, and that resistance will become your new support line. But as you can see, it's just trading sideways. It's trading sideways. And then the same thing for support. If it rebounds off of support and head towards that resistance, like I said, you want to have your calls. But if it comes down from resistance, you want to play, that's where you want to place your puts, and you want to remove or exit your puts before it hits support. Next, we're going to look at NVIDIA. So if you notice, this is the 5-day chart. A lot of these stocks are primarily trading sideways, but trading sideways means that they're probably bouncing between certain price points. So you could see NVIDIA actually has a resistance around, I would give it 180. I would give it around 180, like 179 to 180, and then this support around this 175, 176 area. So you want to watch out for those key price points. And 185 is NVIDIA's 52-week high. So we want to make sure before placing any calls, we wanted to break through this resistance at this 184. And then as you can see, it keep bouncing off of support. Um, yeah, it'll bounce off support, but it's not really doing too much for us to like really be buying calls or really be buying puts. So we want to buy long contracts. We want to buy, this is where our leaps come in, or iron condors for neutral plays. Next, we're going to look at Oracle. Now, Oracle had support around, I would say Oracle has a resistance at 329. It did have a pretty strong support around 300, but then when it broke below that 300 and now it's trading around 283. So I would give that 283 right now support, and this 329 resistance, but we also have to look at this 300 as a resistance, being that this was the previous support level. So next week, we want to see if Oracle is going to continue falling below this support line, or if it's going to rebound and get above this 300. And if it does not, then that's where our condors come in, and we can profit off of the stock moving sideways. So next I want to look at gold or GLD. So it's no longer in the channel that we had drawn for it. It too, if you notice, like this was the beginning of the week, and this was the end of the week. So it pretty much traded sideways like th throughout the week. But I would say right now, this 342 would be considered support. And then around this 348 would be resistance. And if you notice, we don't have a lot of room to maneuver. So again, if you want to do your neutral plays like iron condors or your leaps, so we can profit off the long-term moves. Next, we're going to look at core weave. Well, actually, I'll pull up silver and gold since we're talking about. I meant silver and platinum. We did some nice plays on platinum, and this is a 5 week chart. I mean a 5 day chart for platinum. So as you can see, platinum like it moves sideways throughout the day, but each day it gapped up while the rest of the market was pretty choppy. So like gold, SPY, and stuff like that, Nvidia, those were trading sideways. Platinum continued to get those gains. So we got calls on platinum, and we'll just continue to watch this. We'll continue to watch platinum for any up moves. And I just want to show you, this is the movement. This is a 3 month chart. So as you can see, the past month, it's been moving quite a bit. Then I'm gonna pull up silver. And silver as well. I got into silver around this point, but as you can see, silver does not move as much as gold or platinum. But if you notice this past week, it's starting to gain a lot more momentum than it previously had. So this is a 1 month chart, and as you can see, it kind of traded sideways for a bit. And then this is September 18th. From September 18th till now, like it went up about $4 or $5. So silver is starting to get a little bit of momentum, and it's cheaper than gold and platinum. So that's also something that you can look into. Okay, so next I will go look at CoreWeave. And this is a 5 day chart. And again, it traded sideways. CoreWeave stayed between is 133 and 120. So I would say it has this I would call resistance around maybe 137 and support at 120, 119, 120. So next week we want to look to see if CoreWeave is going to bounce off of this 120 and continue to head back up, or if it's going to break below 120. If it bounces, we want to buy us some calls, but we want to make sure we exit before it reaches resistance. And if it breaks below 120, this is where our puts are going to come in. But again, in uncertain markets, leaps are your friends. The long-term contracts, you don't really want to get caught up in the day-to-day weekly options. And your monthly options will be good too. But being that we are going into October, for right now, if you are going to buy monthly options, you need to be buying monthly options for November. Next, I'll look at United Healthcare. So this is a 5 day chart. So It opened around here, it closed around here. Still kind of sideways. Now, we did get some gains midweek, but it kind of topped out at around, I would say, I would call resistance around like 353. And then it has this support around 341 or 338. I would say 338. But 341 seems to be it seems to be holding up pretty strong. Around 340, 341. So next week we want to look to see if it's gonna break below this price point or if it's gonna go back up. But we needed to break above this 354 before we place any calls. So those are the main ones that I wanted to talk about. Oh, Intel. So Intel had some pretty exciting news this week. So Intel, it ran quite a bit this week. It went from around $29 to about $35. It topped out at 36.31. Now that's a 52-week high. So it did catch that resistance at that point. So we want to watch to see if Intel is going to continue running next week or if it's going to fall back down to this like $30, because the $30 was the previous resistance. It broke above that and it rallied quite a bit. So we want to see if it's going to find its way back to this $30 point or if it's going to continue rallying next week. So some potential setups for next week. Of course, we got Intel, because it's running off of the recent news. We want to watch to see if it's going to continue its rally. We want to watch for Nvidia to see if Nvidia is going to break above this 185. We want to watch Microsoft, as it's currently at a support. So we want to see if it's going to bounce up off of support. CoreWeave is at support, so we want to see if CoreWeave is going to bounce off support. And it's just important to make sure it bounces off of that support before you enter that trade. Now, some bearish setups, we're looking at Oracle. We're looking at Oracle. Oracle was downgraded this week as well. I want to say they downgraded it to 370, 27, 170. Don't quote me. Hold on. Where is that? Is that 300? So I think they said 270. Um, don't quote me on the price point. I know it was downgraded this week. I don't remember the exact price point. But being that it fell, it fell below support and it doesn't have because of that, this is the jump before earnings. So prior to earnings, it was trading at around 243. So right now, we still have like a $40 gap between where it was previously trading at and where it's trading at now. So we want to see if it's going to continue to fall and find support, or because right now, Oracle is just trading in the abyss, okay? So we want to see if it's going to continue to fall down. It was downgraded. Um, yeah, the analysts are not liking how Oracle is moving because they're making a lot of promises, but they haven't actually spent any money to actually make these things happen. So that's another reason why Oracle is kind of falling right now. So yeah, we want to see if it's going to continue to fall below this 283 or if it's going to rebound and make its way in known territory, basically. And then we want to do iron condors on those stocks or indexes that are moving sideways, like your SPYs, um, Nvidia, if it continues to move sideways, Microsoft, if it continues to move sideways. But we're placing calls if they don't move sideways, okay? So That's all I have for you for this week. Let me know what setups and trades you're watching in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a weekly update. And be sure to join our Discord chat. We meet up and have live trading sessions every Monday morning at 0830 Central Standard Time and every Tuesday evening at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that's all I have for you. So make sure, so I'll catch you in the next video. So be sure to stay focused and trade smart.